Hey y'all, we are a little past the halfway point in our school year, so I want to do an update. I've had a couple of people ask me questions about how some of the curriculum is going, and I've answered that in some of the comments of our other videos, but I wanted to do a whole video just to kind of go through each subject for each of my girls and let you know how it's going, what I'm loving, what they're loving, what we're not loving. I'll put a link to some of the other videos that I've done. I'm not going to talk about the curriculum in full, showing you everything about it. I've got other videos for that when we started this school year. So I'll link those videos so you can go back and see those if you're interested in a little bit more details of this curriculum. This video is just to, if you want to go back and watch those videos and then come back to this. So halfway through the year later, I will let you know my opinion of some of these curriculums because we had a lot of new stuff this year. And excuse my voice, sorry if I sound like I'm all stopped up because I am. Our house just is done with a 2-week cycle of sickness and I'm just not completely over it yet. So my voice is messed up and my ears are still stopped up. It's been a rough couple weeks, but bear with me. Hopefully I don't sound too horrible. All right, I'm going to jump into it. I've got a 9th grader and a 4th grader this year. We do, I don't have one of the subjects. We do all the subjects all year long. I had talked before about maybe doing the block schedule where you do 4 subjects at the beginning of the year and then switch and do another 4 for the second half of the year, but we don't do that. So they've each got 5 or 6 subjects that they do all year long, except for my 4th grader, but I'll explain that in a little bit. She does something a little bit different. And I've got both of their book bags right here. It's just sitting here. So hopefully they're all in here. I told them to get their stuff together and hand it to me. And it's funny, we homeschool, at home, but both of my girls like to leave their stuff in their book bags. They have their book bags because they'll occasionally, usually once a week, they'll go to work with me and they do their school at work. But even at home, they put their stuff in their book bags and can just carry it room to room. So I'm just going to open their book bags and hope everything's in here. I'll start with my 4th grader. Again, I have a 4th grader and a 9th grader this year. And let's just see. All right, math. Excuse me. Math. We are doing teaching textbooks for both of my girls, so that's not really something I can show you. It's an online curriculum. I'll put a link in the description if you've never heard of it. It is all online. They do the grading for you on there. It teaches the lesson, and then they go and they answer the questions for that lesson, and then I think you have 6 or 7 lessons, and then you have a quiz. And that's how and that's how the whole curriculum is from start to finish. You have, lessons 1 through 5 or 6 or something, and then quiz 1, and then lessons 7 through 12 or 13, and then quiz 2. I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but something like that. And that is going really good. My 4th grader, I did a video about her having to pause on hers to do multiplication facts because there's no good way that they really teach the multiplication facts. It just goes from lesson to lesson, and they're supposed to just know it at this point. So she's it was a little more than a little bit before the halfway point in the 4th grade teaching textbooks curriculum that she really started struggling, and we had to just stop because I have to make sure that she's got her multiplication tables memorized or fairly memorized before she goes any further, because she's doing things like 3-digit number times a 2-digit number. And she's got to know those things, in her head. She can't, it just doesn't work if you don't have those memorized fairly well. She's learning division. She's starting division now at the middle way point. So she really has to get that taken care of. And she's doing pretty good. She's stuck on the usual hard ones like 7s and 8s and 9s. Everything else she's pretty well got, but we're still working on that. So what we've done is the days that she goes to work with me and I can one-on-one with her. If y'all don't know our story, I work outside the home. My husband stays home, but he's not really a homeschool teacher. He didn't grow up dreaming to be homeschooling his kids and being the teacher. It's just, you'd have to hear our story. That's just how it is right now. That's how it's turned out. And it's fine. It works for the most part, but some of these subjects that he's not that great with, I'll do multiple lessons while they're with me at work, and I've got time to work with them one-on-one because we are blessed to be able to have that situation where they can come to work with me and do their schoolwork at work. So they'll have 5 lessons of math to do, and we'll try to get 3 or 4 of them done while they're with me that day. So we took a little break. She's doing a lesson, and then a lesson or 2 that I help her with, and then we'll do 3 or 4 days of her just working on multiplication facts and doing flashcards and stuff. So math is doing good. She's even got her flashcards packed for tomorrow. Let's see. We are doing spelling. This has been doing pretty good. This was something I ordered off of Amazon. I'll put a link to this. It's not super extensive, and she is doing an English curriculum, and I'll show you that. This has just got It's a 4th grade. It says the 4th grade spelling workbook, 95 plus games and puzzles to improve spelling skills. I just wanted her to have something a little extra. I'll show you like the first set of words on here. Jaw, wrist, ankle, lungs, fever, brain. You know, it goes to different, it has different types of words for each one. That was the anatomy words. Then she's got nature words, travel words. And she's going to have, I think it was like 10 different things or something. I don't know. We're doing like, we skipped a couple weeks of this. I'll have her do like 1 page a day. So that's hardly any work at all. 1 page a day, and then we'll do a quiz on the words that she's coming to. And I'll take her grade for this off of the quizzes. But this is going good. She likes this. It's fun. It's got the random, I mean, she does have just like fill in the blank stuff that's not super fun for her, but then she has stuff like this that she gets really excited about, and she's happy to do that. You know, little activities. This has worked out really good. I wouldn't say that this would be a full-on just English curriculum or language curriculum, but it is a good add-on that we did this year. I'm glad we did that. I don't know if they have a 5th grade one. If they do, we'll probably do that next year too. For English, we are doing A.C.E. Let me see if I can find it. Here's her A.C.E. This has paces. There are 12 little paces booklets that she has to do each year. I think it's going well. It's in cursive, so she is getting her cursive practice. She just started this book today, I believe. But all of her English that she does, she practices her cursive. I'm trying to remember all the way up. I think it's cursive all the way through high school. I'm not 100% on that, but I think so. I'll have my daughters out here, or my 9th grade daughters out in a second, and I'll show you. And I'll try to remember that. But this is going good. It's she's covering like all the bases of English. She's still doing learning like nouns and pronouns. This one is doing commas. But I'm liking it. I feel like she's learning, and she's right where she should be for 4th grade. So it's going good. A.C.E. 4th grade English is going very well. She's got her cheat sheet for her multiplication facts for when she's working on her math lessons. I tell her to try it in her head first. If she can't find it, then go, find it on that sheet. And I think even looking at this is going to help her to get it memorized, because we are practicing daily, but then it helps her to visualize it, even if it is technically cheating. I think it's going to help her to learn it. We've got no specific order. I'm just pulling this out of her bag as I get to it. We are doing the A.C.E. Bible curriculum this year. It's the same thing. It's got the little paces booklets. I think she just started this one too. I don't make her do this one in cursive. Only her English do I make her do in cursive. But it's going well. I like that she's getting, Bible verses. Each of the A.C.E. subjects have different Bible verses in each pace. So she's going to get 12 Bible verses in this one, 12 Bible verses in her English. She's going to learn 24 different Bible verses between these 2 curriculums this year. And that was something that we were missing. That wasn't in any of the other books that she was doing last year. And we switched to this. So I'm glad she's getting that. She's getting, she's learning. She'll come up and tell me stuff that, later on that she remembers reading in her books. And I'm happy about that she is retaining some of this. So this was the 4th grade A.C.E. Bible, going very well. It's doing what I wanted it to do. It's not super extensive. Like, she's not memorizing a bunch of facts, but she is getting the stories and she's remembering stuff. So that was right on track with where I wanted her to be. For science, okay, what I was telling you about how hers is a little bit different. We did Knotgrass history for the first half. I split her subjects up. It was the first year we did this. I did history for the first half of the year, and we're doing science for the second half. So the first half of the year, we had to double up some days. Instead of just doing 1 lesson per day, sometimes we had to do 2. In a week, instead of doing 5 lessons, she would maybe do 7 or 8 lessons, depending on how much each lesson entailed. If it had too much to do, we'd slack off and only do 1. But where we could, we got caught up. Christmas is our halfway point, so I made sure that she was done before we let out for a Christmas break. And that was the Knotgrass, Our 50 States, My 50 States. The 50 states one. And she did good. She liked it. She enjoyed it. There was a lot of information that she's come and told me afterward that she remembers about each state. And she's like, oh, I want to go to this thing. One of her things that she remembers was the manatees in Florida. She wants to go swimming with the manatees in Florida. Don't know if we'll make that happen, but she wants to do that. And she'll just randomly remember things that she read. So I'm happy about that. It was very interesting to her. We love Knotgrass. I think we've got 5th grade for Knotgrass for her available for next year. That was going to be handed down from my oldest daughter that, we're buying that. We have bought that curriculum and then we're passing it down. That was where we got the My 50 States curriculum that she used this year. It was my daughter's originally a couple years ago. So I like that. It's an expensive curriculum, but we've gotten to use it for 2 years, and the only thing we had to buy was the extra little booklets that they wrote in. But that went well. She learned a lot, and I was happy with it. The science that we are using is the Earth Science Apologia, Exploring Creation with Earth Science, and it's going well. We just started this when we started back first week of January, and then we had these 2 weeks of being sick, so she's not too crazy far into it. I have figured out something. It has the lessons wrote down. I'm trying to get to the very beginning. Okay, so like when you start this, if you want to follow their plan for which lesson, I'm not following this as far as like how they have it wrote down, because that was too confusing. We are very much student led. My girls can do their work on their own pretty much. Like they have their planner, we write it out what they're doing every day, every week, and they can look at their planner and say, okay, I'm doing lesson 2 in science today, and they know exactly what to do. But this was not written out very clearly for that. It was like week 1 lesson 1 week 1 lesson 1, so I couldn't really write it like that. So if you can see, I've got a 1 and a 2. So I went through and numbered her lessons myself. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So instead of her going by what they're calling it, her planner will say, do lesson 4 or lesson 5. And she just goes and follows the numbers that I have wrote down for that. And then it's got a lot of experiments, a lot of activities, which was something that I was looking for. I wanted that. I knew it was coming. But we have gotten to where we don't get the experiments or the activities done because she needs help and I'm at work. And we also have a 2-year-old little boy, just turned 2. So my husband's got his hands full with him. He doesn't always have the chance to be able to help her with her experiments, especially if it's something that he's going to have to really focus on. So we don't worry about that. We get it done when we get it done. We did several of her activities this past weekend. I've got it wrote down that we're going to be doing them in the evenings, so we'll catch up on them. And it's not so much that like everything has to completely stop when these activities aren't done. There was a few that are built on each other that we had to catch up on this weekend. She was making like a, what do you call it? I'll think of the word in a second. But she had to take like tissue paper in the your watered down glue water mixture, paper mache. We had to make our own globe, and then she's going to use that globe to draw and do her longitude and latitude lines. So she kind of had to stop on that, but I had her go ahead and do the reading ahead, even though she wasn't doing the activities, and we got caught up on that. We've got her globe made, and we're going to catch up on that. But lots of activities. Some of them are super easy. The ones that are not super easy, it will say, in part of the... Excuse me, my voice is just not doing good. Let me see if I can find one. Okay, so like this is one of her activities that we're needing to do on her globe. Is where she's drawing her lines, but it'll tell you what you need to start with on the activities. And if it's a super difficult one, it'll say adult supervision. If she's going to be cutting something or she needs to boil something or get something hot or whatever, it'll say adult supervision. So you can look ahead and know for sure that that's one that you're going to have to help them with. But there was some super easy ones, like where she just had to take herself and a flashlight and like go to a room and look around and like as if she was the sun or the moon or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was, easy stuff that she could do on her own. And then the notebooking journal, I gotta show you this. We gotta work on this with her. She's, after each activity, oh, we forgot to do this one. So this one's blank. After each activity, it's got a thing that says what I did and what I learned. And she didn't fill that one out because that was one we had to wait. We did that one this past weekend because we didn't have time to do it when it was time for her to do it. I'm trying to find it. All right, she had one of these where she actually did fill it out, the what I did and what I learned. And I'm not super picky with this to make sure that she is like filling in everything exactly and making sure that she does every bit of every activity. So a lot of this is blank. Okay, here's one. The round earth. She did an activity where she had to cut or draw on an orange peel. She had to take the orange as a circle, like pretend that was her globe, and draw with a permanent marker the continents and things as best as she could, just however she wanted to do it. It didn't have to be exact. And then I helped her peel the orange and lay it flat So, and she took a picture with her camera of the orange peel after she had drew on it, and then we cut it, and it was supposed to show the difference of having a map in a rectangle, you know, on a flat map on the wall versus having one on a globe, and how it changes, and how people, when they make the globes or the map, how they have to do the configurations different, whether if it's going to be on a circle, a globe, a sphere, or flat map. But anyway, for the what I did, she wrote, I did what the instructions said. So that was something that I didn't see until a little bit later. I'm like, no, you can't do that. You need to actually write down what you did. So that was a little bit new for her, having like experiments and activities and doing the scientific things afterward of like explaining what you did and how you did it and why you did it and all that. But each activity has one of those, so she'll get better at that. But I am liking it, even though it is activity heavy. We were wanting that, she was wanting that, and so far, so good. It's exciting. She is interested in all of this stuff, and she's liking all the activities and experiments that I'm getting to help her with, and the ones that she's getting to do by herself. All right, is that it for her? We did science. I talked about her history, language, Bible, spelling, math. Yep. All right, so that was everything for her. And we are going to move on. I'm trying to think, was there other stuff that we were doing? She's got games that she does on her tablet. Like she'll do the multiplication games. And then she was doing language, but not a second language. She'd been doing Spanish, but we kind of did that at the beginning of the year and we've slacked off. I'll probably go back into that. It's just been kind of crazy. All right, so let's move on to my 9th graders. This is her keyboard that we got for her to do her typing on her tablet. I was wanting to get a laptop, but that just wasn't in the budget. So we adapted her tablet, got a keyboard, mouse, and all that, and stand for it. So she uses her tablet as her computer to do her typing. All right, this is, what is this? I'm just pulling this out as I get it. Okay, this was her English. If you went back and watched the beginning, the curriculum that we were going to use for English and history, we had two matching, trying to find it. All right, so we had world history, master books, world history. I'm trying to find the beginning here. Okay. We had this for world history, and then we had the English literature that went along with that, and it kind of was a side-by-side thing. We had to do away with that literature. I had a video that I talked about why we did away with that literature. It was just too much. So she's still doing the history of those two that we were working on, but we switched to the A.C.E. English. I graduated with the A.C.E. curriculum. The English I am good with. There are some subjects that I don't care for with the A.C.E. But with the English, I think she's learning what she needs to learn. And we were a little behind because we did really try with that literature curriculum. I wanted her to do it, but it just didn't work. So we had to change. This is exactly like my 4th graders that I showed you. There's 12 of these little packets that you have to finish within the year. We tried to get, I think we're caught up. She had to, it was fairly easy at the beginning, so she was able to catch up. This is book 7. So she is more than halfway. I think she's pretty well right where she needs to be, considering that we are a little past the halfway point in our year. So she's in book 7 of 12. I think she's doing good. There's 2 books that you have to read. I cannot even remember. She read Swiss Family Robinson. She was not a fan. She didn't like that. I can't remember what the next book is. I'll have to go back and find it. I think around in the next book or 2, she's going to do another book that she has to read. And when she got to the book where she was reading the Swiss Family Robinson, it had questions along in the book. I want to say it was like book 3 or 4. I can't remember, but it took her like 4 to 5 weeks to finish that book versus the normal 2 weeks that these books should take, about 2 to 3 weeks. Actually, about 3 weeks. For a normal like 180-day-ish school year, it should take you about 2 to 3 weeks to finish one of these books. It took her 4 to 5 because she kept having to stop. It would be like, it would stop and the instructions at the bottom would say to read 5 chapters or to read 3 chapters or 4 chapters or whatever. And she didn't have time to finish it. So we've split that up. She would do like, her normal 3 or 4 pages a day, and then we would have to take 2 or 3 days for her to read that book. Normally she reads really fast. That's why we had done the other literature curriculum, but that one was way too much reading. If she's interested in it, she can read like crazy. She's already read like 7 books since Christmas of stuff that she's interested in. Of this Swiss Family Robinson, she was not interested, so it took her forever. Hopefully she will be a little bit more interested in the next one, so it doesn't take her forever. So just be aware if you're doing that one, when it comes to the books, they don't really schedule in the reading. So be prepared to stop on the work in the book and give your student time to do the reading to catch up, because then you'll have questions about like English, language stuff, not literature. You're doing it side by side. So it'll have like stuff about, parts of speech that she'll be answering. And then at the bottom of it, it'll say read so many chapters. And then the very next couple pages is questions about what she just read. So you have to stop and read those chapters. So just be aware when you're doing this that you'll have to go a little bit slower and get the reading done. But we're happy with it. She's happy with it. She's able to, if she needs to do extra in English, it's not that big of a deal. It's not bogging her down. She's not frustrated with it. I think she's learning. She's picking up stuff where she needs to be in 9th grade with that curriculum, and we're happy with it. All right, the history, it's still this Apologia. I mean, not Apologia. Did we have an Apologia? Yeah, I told you we had did so many new curriculums this year. This is Master Books. And this was new for us. I think we'd done one Master Books, like a small curriculum last year. But anyway, first time doing a big core curriculum with Master Books. And it's intense. It's a lot. But she's interested in this world history, so it's not bogging her down. And it's fairly easy once we figured out the schedule and figured out the way that they want her to do like these essays and things. It just took us a while to get used to it, to understand, because we had never done the Master Books before. I just wasn't familiar with it. But it took us a while to figure out the scheduling of what she needed to do when. But so far so good. It's going good. I asked her the other day, I was like, where are you at in world history? What timeline? And she said that it doesn't go it doesn't follow chronological order exactly. It'll go from geographic, like place to place, country to country, and it'll stay at that country or that area and give you the way back to current, and then it'll move to another area geographically, and it'll go back in time and then work its way up. So she's kind of learning some geography along with the history, which is good. So we're happy with that. She is also doing the teaching textbooks. If you know any of my background with her, she was not doing good when we pulled out of regular school in 2020 and started homeschooling. So she was in 5th grade. We finished out 5th grade. I did a different curriculum for 6th grade. And by the time it was time to start 7th grade, I had to switch her curriculum, and we found teaching textbooks, and I have not changed it since then. But when we went to teaching textbooks and she was supposed to be in 7th grade, I had to bump her back to 5th grade because she had just gotten to that point where she was doing like the long division problems and the multiplication facts, and it just didn't sink in. And then she went to doing percentages and fractions, and she just went through it without retaining any of it. So by the time she was at 7th grade, she just was not ready for that. So we had to go back to 5th grade. So 7th, 8th, and now 9th grade, she has done 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade math, and she is now in 9th grade. We got at the halfway point in her 9th grade year. She finished 8th grade level, and she is now in the 9th grade level. So she is caught up with the year that she's supposed to be in. Still about a half a year behind, but I'm not pushing it. We're going at the pace that she needs to go at so that she is not frustrated, and she's doing fairly good. Those days that she gets to come to work with me, if she's getting frustrated with it, getting bogged down, then we'll do a couple lessons while I'm there, and I can be one-on-one with her. Math is my thing. I can't spell like at all. I'm so bad at spelling. I ask my daughters how to spell things because I don't know. It just don't click with me. But numbers click. I'm a numbers person, so I can help them with their math. All right, so teaching textbooks is going good. We've got this typing. This was something I ordered off of Amazon. We do like 20 minutes of this a day, and it's doing good. I haven't done her typing. I need to do a speed test on her. She's gotten better. I haven't done it in several weeks, but from the time I had her do a typing test, a speed test, when she first started, and she was at like 5 words per minute or something like that. And then the next time she had bumped up to like 15. So I'm gonna see where she's at. I need to maybe test her this week and see what her speed is. But it's good. This little book is set up to where you can flip this over and use it. It's got a little stand in the back. So she flips that over, does her work, and does about 20 minutes worth of work, and just goes page to page and finds a stopping point, and to get that 20 minutes in. But it's going good. Let's see, we've also got Bible in the A.C.E for her. Same thing with my 4th grader. She's learning stuff. This one is more intense with it being the high school. It's actually, is this New Testament or Old Testament? I think it's Old Testament survey. So when you get to the high school level, this one's called Old Testament survey. I think she'll do New Testament survey next year in 10th grade. So this is focusing on the first half, the Old Testament, part of the Bible, and she's learning, you know, the Old Testament stuff. She's doing the genealogy kind of thing and all the different stories of the Israelites. And I think this is actually talking about Joshua right now in the Israelites, and she's in book, I think this is book 7. It's not written like the English one, but I think this is book 7. Yeah, they're talking about Joshua and the Israelites in this one. Laid out the same way as the other one, so I'm liking that she gets the memory verses with this one and her English as well, same as my 4th grader. It's going good. It's not super intensive, but it is a little bit more detailed and intensive than the 4th grade Bible, because it is a high school level course. But she likes it. I like it. It's going good. All right, biology. We are doing Discovering Design with Biology. This is Berean Builders. I had never heard of them before I picked this curriculum out. I just happened to find it looking for a biology that I could afford, and this one was on the cheaper of, like, I had them all lined up. I had a bunch of different curriculums looking at them to see which ones I wanted to do. I didn't want to do the A.C.E. biology because I remember doing that one from high school, and I just didn't think it would work for us. So this is going pretty good. The experiments are fairly reasonable that she can do on her own, and she has a microscope, and we bought the kit, the set that has like the dissection stuff on it. We haven't done any dissections yet. I'm actually looking forward to that. She is not. That's my thing. I like science. I like animals. I like doing the weird stuff. So we'll get to that, but we haven't got to any of the dissections yet. I'll probably do a video a little bit when we get to that. But it's going good. It's a lot of information at one time. This is one that I don't know. I think she would be happy if I switched her to something easier, but I don't think it's so hard and so out of our reach to finish this year that we need to switch. That literature that we were doing was just not going to work. This is intensive, but I've told her several times, you know, you're in high school, your work is getting harder, you're just going to have to deal with it. But it is a lot of information at one time. The way these lessons are laid out, like this was just, it was a lot of information. And I remember, you know, in high school that you had classes where the teachers did not do the whole book. You know, you did the curriculum, you got credit for the course, but the teachers would skip stuff and you didn't do everything. So if she does everything, but she doesn't learn all of it 100%, I'm fine with that. But I did have to make her slow down because they were giving her so much information at one time that she wasn't being able to remember it. So many definitions, so many different words that, you know, sound exactly the same. You know, it's in something eyed or a something ode, and all, you know, all those biology terms that you are not going to remember unless you're a biology teacher or you go into some kind of science field. But those things was really messing with her because she would get down to the test and she'd be like, I can't remember if it was the something a tide or the something a toad or the something a lead, or, you know, just those technical words, technical terms that you have to really memorize. So we slowed down on her schedule, and as she's doing her lessons, I make her write out the bold word, you know, the vocabulary words that you get to within the lesson. Like, show you here. See, like these bold words here. I'm making her stop as she gets to them, and she's keeping a notebook where all she's doing is writing down that chapter's vocabulary words. So then when it gets to time for her to study for a test, she's going to take even more time to study than what the review calls for to study those vocabulary words, and hopefully that will help her to retain the information a little bit more. So when it gets time to take the test, she'll have a little bit more time practicing those specific words and the meanings and all that, because that was really messing with her. Like, she remembers it, but she just couldn't remember those exact words exactly right. But everything's going pretty well. We've had a couple of the experiments that we didn't do just because, like, one of the things was, I think, about testing your taste buds, and you were supposed to have some sort of strips, and we didn't have it. It was supposed to be in the lab kit, but it wasn't with it. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but, you know, just be forewarned. Go through, look at your science experiments with that, and make sure you got all your stuff beforehand. It may have just been that our kit just didn't come with those pieces for some reason. I don't know if all of them were like that. Okay, I think we covered everything. We did science, history, typing, English, math. Oh, and she does Duolingo for her language. I mean, her second language. She's done Navajo. She's learning French. I think she was doing Gaelic or something, and Italian. But I was making her do the Spanish. I told her she had to do the Spanish, but she jumps around from language to language on her Duolingo app. But she has fun with it, and she's learning different stuff. I'm not sure how that credit is going to work. I got to see how far she gets with each language because she's jumping around. I got to make sure she stays with one to finish an actual credit for that. But that is it. We are still doing our planners. This works really good. I don't plan on changing this. I mean, for a long time, I don't plan on changing this. It works really good because they can write down every day what they're doing. This was a week that we went to Biltmore. They didn't do any schoolwork on that day. I've got some videos about Biltmore. We got the annual passes, so we've been doing field trips off of that. But both of them do the same thing. Write down their subjects, write down what they do that day, and I can look at this. I can go back and look at this and say, you know, remember, see what days that we did school or didn't do school to keep up with attendance. I also have it in my planner. I have the exact same planner, different design on mine, but I use the same planner to plan out their school days and all that. So that was it. If you have any questions about any of this, or any questions about what we're going to be doing for next year's curriculum, I'm already looking into shopping for that stuff. I think I covered everything, though. That was it. I hope y'all are having a good school year, and I hope some of this might help you if you're already thinking about next year's too, or if you're struggling with any of this and you have questions about this specifically that I didn't cover, feel free to ask. I'm happy to help. All right, that is it. I hope y'all have a great day. Bye.